Hey guys, welcome back to another replay. Today I've got a couple of replays from Kangaroo. The first game will be in his VK 30.02M on Redshire. It's actually a bottom tier game, but there are no arty, which is pretty good. Now, Redshire, this is actually an encounter game mode, and usually I find this map there's two main points to go, which is the 0 line and the 1 to 4 lines. I think from this side of the map you get a bit of an advantage going on the 1 and 4 lines, but 0 line has a really very big advantage on the south spawn. So it's good to see that Kangaroo is going over to the right of the map, especially in a medium tank like this in a low tier game. This is really where you want to go. It's not a good idea to go and fight on the heavy spot, and also as it is an encounter map, or an encounter battle, the base cap is in the middle of the map, so this is where all the action will be centered around. I don't play encounter that much myself. In fact, I haven't played it in thousands of battles. I just like the standard, 2 base layout, but, it's not that much different apart from the base being in the center of the map, which causes the team flows a little bit differently, but it's still the main points of the map still stand. Coming over here, it seems to be a pretty good idea because the base is in the middle. Usually if it's a standard battle mode, I would actually be going straight into the middle, even in a low tier tank like this, especially as he's got his view range maxed. But as I said, as it is an encounter game mode, the actual cap circle's in the middle, and if he goes in there, people will probably just rush in and kill him to try to stop the cap being capped. Kangaroo has decided to come over here on the 1 line though, which is pretty good, and his team are pushing up. You can see on the map there is an IS over on the 0 line, and he's spotted a Tiger 1. Tiger 1 appears to be going in for a actual YOLO on straight into the base. Encounter, the base cap's a lot longer, so you don't have to immediately bother with it. But as you can see, there's actually a T26E4 pushing into this little middle ridge or valley. That can be quite a bit of a problem for a couple of tier 6s because the E4 is actually really hard to penetrate with a low tier tank. Kangaroo is doing the right thing here though by just defending. He can't actually do much pushing up against one of those, especially in an alleyway. Looking now, you can see that actually a whole pile of their tanks have pushed straight into the middle alley. His T3485 variant is dead now, and the Tiger 2, the Tiger 1 is actually poking the ridge there in the middle. Again, he's made a good move by pulling back here. This is exactly what I would have done. Pulling back here means you can use this little ridge line just to sort of hold down on and hide most of your tank. I think he was actually going for a tracking shot there, but he missed, but that's alright. The guy comes in, he kills him, which is pretty easy. And again, Kangaroo is doing exactly what I would have done in this case, being back on the aggressive side, trying to push in and get these guys in the middle. As long as their high tier tanks are not actually looking at you, you can be as aggressive as you like and farm as much damage. It's a lot of the times I see low tier tanks actually not bothering to do anything because they're too worried about a high tier tank actually damaging them, but a lot of the times high tier tanks are too busy with other high tier tanks and you can make the most of it, as Kangaroo is doing here. So you've seen that the Tiger 1 is actually trying to shoot that little 59-16 in front of him. Now this is actually what I've done different. I would have moved back from here now, especially after that shot. I wouldn't have stayed here. He got very lucky that the Tiger missed, because the Tiger does have quite a lot of health in its shot to take off you. Next though, it looks pretty good from here on though, because you can see on the map that the IS is still not dead on the 0 line. Their team's pretty much won the middle cap, and it looks like a pretty much solid win here. There is a T150 in the middle though. This shouldn't be too hard to deal with, especially as it is only a tier 6 tank, but I'm really not sure why this Type 59 is being so scared of a single tier 6 tank. He's got superior armor, superior DPM, superior everything. He should just be going straight in for him. Here, I probably would have encouraged this Type 59 to be aggressive. You can finally see that he is actually going in and doing exactly what I would have done here again. But the only difference here is I would have actually flanked the T150. Going into a ram frontal brawl with this is not really a good idea. But I have to say, this was actually a kill done with style. So with that T50 out of the game, it's pretty much an instant win now. There is a T25-2 behind, but he is going to be finished off pretty soon. Not much you can do against the Type 59. And Kangaroo picks up the kill. Either way, it was a solid match for a tier 6 tank in a tier 8 match. Kangaroo got 1,623 damage, 5 kills, which is the highest on either team, and it was a solid win. I'll stop the replay here though because he wasn't able to kill the SP1C or AMX-12T. Alright, so for the second replay here, Kangaroo is playing his Emil II on Malinovka. He's got the west spawn, and I find that the west spawn is actually the disadvantaged one still on Malinovka. Unfortunately, they haven't really improved this map that much, but they've made it worse indirectly by changing all the camo on the map. Either way, it is a top or a mid-tier game. There's some tier 10s in the game, but there is also a lot of tier 8s to farm. The Emil II is obviously a hold down tank, so going hill is the right choice here. Because it's a bit of a drive up the hill, I will skip to where the action happens. Alright, so Kangaroo is now up at the top of the hill. There is a Skoda T50 spotted up here, and the E5 is making short work of him. You can see most of Kangaroo's team is coming up behind, and he is able to pick up the T50. Now on Malinovka, I have noticed that, as I said before, the south spawn does get a bit of an advantage in speed getting up the hill. They have removed the overpowered bushes that were about here that you could sit behind and spot everything coming up the hill, but it still feels like the south spawn does get a bit of an advantage. I have noticed though they have added a new ridge a little bit further back that you can sit behind. That seems to work fairly well. Either way, he spotted an IS-4 coming up here. I wouldn't even taken that shot simply because IS-4 armor, it won't pen on that angle. And as he has only one shot in his magazine and it's an autoloader, I would have actually reloaded my clip at the moment because you generally want to have at least in the mill 2 shots to put in consecutively because that is quite a lot of damage. Putting one shot in is really just a waste of having an autoloader. However, he does put that shot into the 705, and that is exactly when you do want to have a full clip. He could have actually put quite a lot of shots into that guy there. Either way, he's just got to go back into reload. I'll skip ahead here again because the reload does take quite a long time on this tank. Alright, so he's nearly reloaded now. He's done the right thing by sitting back. His Conqueror and Badger have both come up, and he's going to go for the Centurion 7-1 now. Shooting on that angle is sort of a waste again. There's no way he can pen through the stuff in the way of his gun because he's using HE rounds. I really wouldn't be even bothering with those shots right there. Also, he is exposing himself quite a lot to the right. I would have been a little bit more careful because this is quite a tall tank. Again, that shot wouldn't have penned. He went for the track for some reason when it doesn't really pen on that angle. And he did, unfortunately, lose a bit much health there. He probably could have pulled that shot off without actually losing any health. But either way, it's not too much of a big deal because he did get the kill, and that's the most important thing. So he's sort of putting a bit of pressure up here on the 705. This is a actual tactic you can use in an autoloader, is sort of make them think that you're loaded by pushing up and keeping pressure on them even though you've still got like 20 seconds till you've finished loading. Obviously the enemy team doesn't know that you're loaded or not unless you're sitting right back, so if you just show that you're still willing to poke your turret up, that's often enough to sort of keep them at bay. Here he shoots for the Scorpion. I would have actually gone for the T110E4 because that's obviously the much more dangerous tank. He does shoot at him now, but it's sort of a bit too late to get the side shot that he needed, so again, I would have initially gone straight for the T110E4 and just ignored the Scorpion. Right here, I would obviously reload. You've only got one shell, so he's sort of wasting the idea of an autoloader with one shell left, but he also can put it into the 705, which is what he does. I guess in this case it's not too bad to do this, but a lot of the time as soon as you have one shell left in your autoloader you should just reload straight off the bat. By now I would actually be reloading with APCR, not heat, because a lot of these tanks are easily pennable with APCR, and also the heat shells will be, obstructed by small things, and there's a chance that they will get absorbed by the space armor. Again, I will fast forward the replay here because there is a lot of reloading. So he's reloaded now. And looking at the map, we can see that the T110E4 is still down where he was, or he could still be down where he was last spotted. There is I can't remember the name of that new Tier 8 French premium, Samura or whatever it's called. And there is a couple tank destroyers at the enemy base. There is an ELC even 90 that has been pushing around the back, but the T49 should be able to spot him over there. So you can see that Kangaroo's team have actually pushed down to the rock. This is actually pretty good in this case because a lot of the times you can't even get your teams to push down here now because of the camo that hides all the tanks sitting in the bush. He is able to pick up a Scorpion, which is pretty nice, but he is spotted. Now this is where you've got to be careful. I wouldn't actually be sitting on the edge here. He's still spotted, and he even is still spotted now. So doing this wasn't actually much of a, a way to hide yourself from getting shot. You're just going to get, he's still in the open. He was lucky that no one else was actually shooting him right then. It would have been better if he'd pushed down into the ridge or just reversed straight back and got behind the crest of the hill. Either way, he's made a good choice here by coming back down because you can see that there's an SU-101 and the ELC even 90 are now probably coming this way. His T-49 has pushed back into here, and to be honest, I think that's fine to do. He's just sort of come back to where the rest of his team are because there's no reason you should be out spotting if there's not many people there to shoot at what you're spotting. I'd also have reloaded to a full clip right now. With 3 shells in his magazine, he's sort of a bit limited here. Either way, it is enough to clip a half health SU-101, which is what he does. So with that kill picked up, it's actually not too bad now. The ELC even 90 is probably still coming around this side. T-49 is doing his job scouting down there, which is pretty good. And he goes in for another reload. The Object 260, the 261 has been spotted over the back of the map. And their arty picks him up, which is awesome. He still has quite a way to reload again, so I will skip ahead on the video here. So the T110E4 has been spotted over that side of the map. Now, what you can do on Malinovka a lot of the time is actually push down along the water. See where the T49 is. If you go down around there and actually jump off, or not jump off, but drive over the edge of the ridge and along through the water, that can actually be quite a good strat to creep up on the guy sitting in the bush. However, he did get spotted, and I would have actually moved straight back and looked at the map as soon as I got spotted, but he's able to turn around and block the second shot from the ELC even 90, and he's able to finish him off. He actually got a really nice tracking shot there, which means he can just shoot in the same position and get the kill. So looking at the map now, you can see that the T110E4 and the Tier 8 premium French tank are probably still sitting behind the rock. The T-34 is at his base, probably still. And in this sort of position, it's sort of really hard to know what to do because, especially with the changed camo mechanics where tanks sort of just disappear behind stuff now, you got to be really careful with your pushes. What he does here is he's decided to say, okay, I'm going to keep sitting on the hill, I'm going to wait and just see for a few minutes to see what they do. He has got 5 minutes left, which is not too bad, and he's still got enough time to do things in. I would have been a little bit more wary of knocking a tree over though, because if anyone sees it, it is obviously a dead giveaway of your location. Also, pushing a dead tank carcass, just be careful of, because that's the sort of thing good players will keep their eyes out for, and that sort of gives them an idea of where you are. Like if I saw that SU moving there, ISU, sorry, not SU, I would have made a blind shot straight for this bush if I was the E4. Either way, he can't spot anyone, so he's moving back and he's going to check up a little bit closer. Still no one spotted yet, but he's sort of hoping that they'll sort of just drive into his view range, and that's what happens. Now, I don't know what this Tier 8 tank is doing. I'm sorry guys, I really can't remember the name for it at the moment, but I'm not sure why it doesn't shoot straight away here. What I would do in this case is first move back so I'm behind the bush, and then shoot, so I've got more cover, so I've less chance of getting spotted, because if that T110E4 had his eye up on the hill, then he could have easily been finished off. Either way, Kangaroo is on a nice score at the moment. He's got 3,445 damage and at 1,216 assisted damage. So, and he is sitting on 6 kills. So this is a pretty good game so far. He does, however, have only 3 minutes left, and this is when I'd start actually trying to do something, because it is very, very likely that he'll have a draw in this case. So he's having another reload here, and he's just gone up to the next bush, which is pretty much a good thing to do. You want to slowly work your way up till you get closer to the enemy team. The T-49 does spot the T-110E4, and Kangaroo starts firing at him. Unfortunately, RNG means his shots are going to miss and bounce, but he does finally manage to make one penetrate here. And the T-92 picks up the kill. Alright, so now with him reloading, Kangaroo's pretty much going to have to start pushing down to kill the T-34, because he's now got 2 minutes left, and it's going to take a fair amount of time to get to their base. So Kangaroo's now managed to make it down to their base. With 1 minute 26 seconds left, it really isn't worth chasing after the T-34 because they don't know where he is, and because his tank is quite slow, there's not much chance of finding him in the last remaining time. He makes a good move here though. He backs up behind the bush, which means that if the T-34 comes to try to reset base and make it a draw, the camo should be able to keep him fairly hidden. So that's pretty much where the game ends. He ends up just capping the base out and they win. It was a pretty nice game though, with 3,836 damage, 1,484 assisted damage and 6 kills. Alright, so for the end plates. For the first game, Kangaroo got first class mastery. He also got fighter, 5 for effect, duelist, and also Oskin's medal, which means destroy at least 3 enemy tanks or tank destroyers with a medium tank in one battle. On the team score, you can see he did 1,623 damage, got 5 kills, and earned 1,073 base experience. Also on the more detailed page, you can see that he got 103 assisted damage, he lost 10,000 credits, and he made 5,635 experience on a ×3, and also 240 free XP. On the Emil game, it was an ace tanker / mastery game. He got bruiser, duelist, and 5 for effect, and also top gun. On the team score, he did 3,862 damage, got 6 kills, and earned 1,337 experience. On the detailed report page, you can see he got 1,484 assisted damage, he lost 15,000 credits, and made 5,216 experience on a ×2. He also got 198 free XP. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful in some way, and well played to Kangaroo. He got some really nice games there, and also thanks for sending your replays in. Would like to have another shout out to the Perth clan, because they've been very helpful and very supportive in my effort in making these videos. If you are a Perth local, do check them out because they're a great community clan if you are into that kind of thing. I'll put a link to their clan page in the description. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Cheers.